peelings, which at the time I didn't have time to deal with, but I really need space in my freezer, so now I'm finally going to deal with them. I'm going to take my apples and put them in this pot. This recipe is inspired by Pam over at Rose Red Homestead, and she just kind of put all of her apple scraps into a pot and covered it with water and let it simmer. So I'm going to put all of my apple scraps in here, and then I'm going to clean out these Ziploc bags and reuse them for another project, as many as I can get in, and I'm going to let it simmer until they're completely broken down and soft. Other things you can do with apple scraps is to make apple cider vinegar, but that is a little bit too time consuming for me at the moment. So this is what's going to be going to work for me today. So I'm going to get this on the stove, and I'll come back in a few hours once it's all cooked down and ready to go. Okay, my apple juice, all my scraps and water has been simmering down for a couple of hours, and you can see it's completely broken down. All of the bits have kind of come out, and so I think I'm ready to strain all this out, and then I will be back to put this back on and add the pectin and the sugar to make it into jam. So I've measured out all of my apple juice and I put it back into this pot. What I'm doing is I'm going to triple a recipe from this. It's the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving, which is kind of like an extension of the Ball Blue Book, and I'm using the low or no sugar jelly recipe. I'm going to use pectin. It is possible, so apples have a lot of pectin in them, and it is possible that this has enough pectin to set on its own, but I want to add a little bit less sugar, so I'm going to add some low, no sugar pectin, and hopefully it'll set that way. So I've added 14 cups of apple juice in here, which is exactly 3 times the recipe. And the recipe calls for 1 package, which is 3 tablespoons of this. So times 3 would be 9 tablespoons. I'm just going to add it in to my juice. I'm going to give that a good mix and then bring this to a rolling boil. Okay, I've got the apple juice back on the stove with the pectin in, and I've made it to the stage where it's boiling so hard I can't boil it down, or I can't stir it down. So now I'm going to add my sugar. This recipe is a low, no sugar recipe, so basically it says up to 1 cup of sugar per batch. I have 3 batches in here, so I think I'm just going to put 1 cup of sugar total. And now I'm going to heat this until it comes back to that same rolling boil, and then I'm going to start a timer for 1 minute. I think we're good to start our 1 minute timer. Alright, 1 minute has gone by. I'm going to take the heat, turn the heat off. I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to start putting the jam into jars. Next thing I'm going to do is just going to ladle the hot jam into my hot jars. Leaving about a 1/4 inch headspace. once I've double checked the headspace on all of them, I'm going to go ahead and wipe the jars off. I like to use white vinegar for jams and jellies and things that are really sticky. Just run it around the edge. While I'm doing that, I'm just checking to make sure, feeling and making sure there aren't any nicks in the top of the jar that would prevent it from sealing. Now we're ready to put the lids on. So I'm just going to turn them to finger tight. I'm going to put these in the canner and process them for 10 minutes. I'm actually going to add an extra 5 minutes because I'm at above 1,000 feet of elevation. So it will be 15 minutes total in my water bath canner. Our 15-minute timer has gone off, so it's time to turn off the canner and let it sit for 5 minutes. And then once it's cooled off a little bit, we'll be able to take our jelly out. Time to take our jars out of the canner. Look at how beautiful that color is. Nice and golden. Music to a canner's ears. So from those 14 cups of juice, I got 13 cans of jelly. So really excited to be able to use these in breakfast and in oatmeal and desserts and all the great things. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you again soon.